If religious beliefs and opinions are found contrary to the standards of science, they are mere superstitions and imaginations. For the antithesis of knowledge is ignorance, and the child of ignorance is superstition. Unquestionably, there must be agreement between true religion and science. If a question be found contrary to reason, faith and belief in it are impossible, and there is no outcome but wavering and vacillation. Abdul Baha. If any religion rejected science and knowledge, that religion was false. Science and religion should go forward together. Indeed, they should be like two fingers of one hand. Abdul Baha.
Thank you. So today we're really happy to have Dr. Habib Riazati, and he will be talking about if religion and science are incompatible. Alex Habib Riazati has been a scientist and strategist at Boeing Defense Integrated Systems for the last 38 years. He's also been a psychotherapist with a PhD in clinical psychology for the past 17 years, with a private practice called Integrative Counseling LLC. He's the founder of the Human in the Making Foundation, a nonprofit organization aiming at motivating and empowering individuals to actualize their hidden noble potentials, enriching families and communities and enabling them to develop social interests, offering unconditional services to their fellow humans, and continuously engaging in abolishing human rights violations and abuses. Moreover, he's the coordinator of the Ocean of Lights website, the repository of the Bahá'í writings categorized based on tablets and primary scholarly sources. He's also the author of 3 volumes of work on fundamental verities and progressive revelation, and is the program director of the television program Danesh Binesh Azadi. So with that, I'll hand it off to Dr. Riazati.
Good morning, and Allah Apa to you. I am very glad to be with you with this topic, religion, science. So I want to start with whether there is actually duality in the universe that we live. Is there something called religion, and then there is another thing called science? Is really religion is what we know and define it? Is the science is what we have started to know? My aim is to show you that everything first starts with definition, with the concept. If the concept is not right, therefore all the deductions will be inconclusive. We are living in a century that at every corner of the universe, either the people are upholding secularism, they either become fundamentalists, or they even altogether let go of the fundamentals that we know about so far, such as God, such as life after death, such as free will, and so forth. The question that I would like to present to you is really, when we talk about religion, or I want to say it in a better form, is the Baha'i faith, Baha'i writings, specifically Bab, Baha'u'llah, and Abdul Baha, the 3 central figures, how do they define religion? How do they define science? We have to go first with the definition. Is religion the belief system? Is religion the nature of reality? Is religion and science simply are 2 aspects of one reality. Is religion representation of humanism aspect of an individual, and science is a manifestation of the reality which filters through mind and experience? Does religion follow logic? Does science follow emotion? These are the type of questions that right now, at least in the field of psychology and science, pure science, they are struggling with. Whether there is a right approach to say religion versus science. To my knowledge, none of the true scientists of the world have opposed religion. The giants, such as Newton, you read Newton, you will see how devoted he is to God, to religion, to faith. Look at Charles Darwin. Darwin, who shook the world. He also had a lot of respect for his wife, who was extremely religious. Look at Albert Einstein, one of the finest minds that ever lived on the face of the planet. He believed in religion. He believed in God. So then, what is the issue here? The issue is that the nature of religion that Einstein, Spinoza, and other scientists such as Pascal, such as Newton, they believed is a little bit different from what the ordinary, traditional people had in mind. Religion for Einstein, and I equate it to Abdul Baha Abbas in some answer question, religion is only a manifestation of the essential relationship that exists within the universe. Please pay attention. دین روابط ضروریه منبعث از حقایق اشیا means that whatever exists in the universe should be considered as a system. This system has elements, parts. Each part is connected to another part. Therefore, the universe is system. And all the elements of this system have essential, necessary, logical relationship with each other. Please pay attention to this definition. Interestingly enough, Abdul Baha uses the same definition for science. علم روابط ضروریه منبعث از حقایق اشیا, the essential relationship that you will see stems from innermost reality of all things. Now, please pay attention. Based on this definition, even Abdul Baha does not look at religion as a part different from any other reality. Abdul Baha Abbas, like many of the scientists that I am familiar with has difficulty with definition of religion the way that the people have it. Is religion simply a series on do's and don'ts? Is religion belief in a God who is standing on the top of the world and directs the world what to do, what not to do? His religion is about the God that keeps track of who is really a faithful and who is not faithful, and those faithful, he goes, takes them to heaven, and then those who are not faithful, like Habib, they put him into hell, and then if he finds some people who doesn't know what to do, half good, half bad, he puts them in some place in the middle. You tell me, is this really the God that you want the people believe, let alone science? What is the bearing for it? What are the evidence for it? Science simply says, I am not opposing religion, but I have an exclusive right to question your assumptions. And from one assumption, we go to a better assumption about the innermost reality, because innermost reality is unknown anyway, whether it is religious or whether it is science. Please pay attention. That is to say, based on what we know so far, religion and science are incompatible? Depends. If religion is based on old ideas about the universe, the God, humanity, creation, yes, they are incompatible. Do you know why? Because that traditional religion still thinks humanity is like a child. No, you cannot believe anymore in the universe, which is 6,000 years old. No, you can't. I'm sorry. Why? Because there are evidences. Evidences that tells you directly at least between 18 to 20 billion years old. So which one is it? 6,000? 18? You are talking about 18 billion, for God's sake. Is Torah should be taken, or scientific fact? Or maybe what is in Torah should not be taken literally. But science says, when you say something, you better mean it. Is it 6,000 years or is not 6,000 years? And then you see in Muhammad, when they ask him, I apologize, I have a flu, so if I wipe my nose, please forgive me. Muhammad starts saying, do you know, it was 8,000 years ago. In another tradition, no, maybe it was 7,000 years ago. They asked Bob. He says, well, do you know, maybe it was over 12,000 years ago. So somebody might say, hold on a second, please. Was it 7? Was it 6? Was it 12,000? Or actually, maybe they are saying something else. And religion has a language which partially is symbolic, partially is parable. When you take the symbol, which is a pointer, for those of you who know mathematics, it points, it is vector, it points to certain things. The people look at the sign, but they do not try to see what is it pointing at. Please pay attention. And if you look at it literally, of course it's incompatible. Not incompatible with science, it is incompatible with reality. Because as a psychologist, the roots of all the mental disorders are fear. Freud. The cause of fear is because of ignorance to the reality that exists. If you have to forget everything, remember this. The root cause of all of our instabilities, anxieties, to a certain degree, depression, is fear. Does fear causes people to become religious? This is something that Freud tried to unravel in a book called Future of an Illusion. He said, illusion doesn't have any future, ladies and gentlemen. But he said, humankind, because of fear of unknown, tried to somehow safeguard its own insanity. Please now pay attention how religion and science work together. Freud, rightly, he said humanity through the universe has grown like a little boy, but at the same time had a fear about unknown. Therefore, he, she had to somehow seize, erase that fear from his psyche. And in order to do that, he started to create an illusion called God. God with a great father. God, a great protector. The more humanity advanced, it realized that no, by God, see, I use the word God now. By God, no, the more knowledgeable he becomes about the nature and about the universe, his and her fear will be diminished. Therefore, Freud, he has started to change the definition of God. God, is he a creator? How do you know? How can a created being knows that there is a creator? These are the questions that were asked by science, by Newton, by Russell, by Einstein. Look at that God, a God which is man-like. A God gets angry, gets kind, is superpower, Nobody can do anything without him. It is like Zorro. It's a Superman. Do you want really your children, yourself, to believe in these type of gods? Do you want science to be compatible with these types of gods? The God that creates heaven and earth in 6 days? The God that creates Adam and then Eve, and then Eve is a smart fellow, goes and tries to somehow twist Adam to do that which is no good. And then Mr. God finds out, throws both of them out of heaven. And then the woman until 21st century, they have to pay for the divergence of Miss Eve. Come on, for God's sake. Most of the sufferings of humankind has been because of this erroneous interpretation. Why erroneous? Because it is inhuman. Why? Because it doesn't have any evidences. This is why religious people mostly say it says what it means what it says. It means, Habib, shut up. If, Habib, you question, that means your faith is diminished. If you ask why, that means that your mind even is not good. You need to go as psychologist. No wonder you went after psychology, because you don't believe in God that we believe in. But reality has nothing to do with Habib, has nothing to do with you. Reality is independent of whether we want to face it or not. We have to think, is really God can survive the definition that we have given him? Bahá'í writings categorically refuses that type of God. The best definition of God is unknowable essence. Means that you cannot define him. Abdul Baha Abbas insists on the fact that definition of a God actually becomes the greatest means and device to actually abolish God. So that if religion is based on the concept of God, we first have to accept and define what is God. And we have to accept a definition which is according to the developmental capacity of humankind as a whole at this very moment. God is not definable. God is not an object. God is just a term used as innermost reality of all things, visible and invisible. You can see this definition in Gita. I highly recommend, if you want to know about science and religion, read Gita, Bhagavad Gita, attributed to Krishna. Unfortunately, there is a problem with religious people. They don't read. They even do not read their own books. But they judge. They feel that they own the world. Everybody else is gone astray. But I highly recommend, read it. Krishna, who existed before Moses, at least 3,500 before Christ. He says the universe is a system. They are all connected. God is unknowable. God cannot be defined. But everything in the universe follows by a certain essential laws that govern that system. Please pay attention. He says the more you know about the universe, the more you know about the laws that are intrinsic to the universe, the more you feel love, the more you feel harmony, and you do not see duality. What is religion then? Religion is to reunite yourself, your mind, your heart, your emotion, your right brain with your left brain. If you are religious, you never lie. Why? Because lie is a sign of fear. Lie is sign of lack of confidence. Lie is the sign of inferiority. You see how the science and religion looks at it. Why do you have to feel better than others? The question is raised in Gita. He says, because you feel isolated, because you do not know the universe. If you know the universe, you know you are a part of the universe. And if you just know the rules of that system and abide by it, then you generate love. And religion is love. Science is love. Please pay attention. Incompatible? Incompatible with what? If religion, the way that majority of the followers have defined it, is believe in something that is up there, believe in a man who is the son of that father. All of these things are symbolic, for God says. Take them literally, you are out. No, it's not incompatible with science. It is incompatible with reality. It is illusional. Why? Why? Because it doesn't have a bearing in reality. So now I go to the second part. Einstein, was a Jew. And you cannot find a better description of a personal God, human-like God, than Old and New Testament. And this man, I don't know how much you know about him. He was one of the most influential humanitarian scientists. Read his articles. He was very insightful. He loved philosophy. He loved psychology. His intrinsic relationship with Carl Jung, his love for Immanuel Kant. He said, I believe in God. I believe in religion. What religion? Cosmic religion. Please pay attention to this term. Cosmic religion. a religion that doesn't belong to the East or to the West. A religion which coordinates all the elements of reality. He says, and his religion operates but love. Love? He says, yes. Love does not negate mind. Love actually is a manifestation of mind, and mind is a manifestation of love. Please pay attention here. I take you to Abdul Baha Abbas. He gave the same definition that he gave for religion, for science, for love. Ishq, mahabbat. He says, love is just essential relationship that unites all the elements of the universe. Please pay attention. Cosmic religion. Within this cosmic religion, there is an animal. There is a nature. There is a human. There is a cosmos. This religion is universal. Science tries to unravel the mysteries of this nature. So again, Abdul Baha, nature, when you look at it from holistic part, the innermost reality of nature is unknown, like God that is unknown. Wow. So what is incompatible? I still do not understand what type of title these people gave me. What is incompatible? The only thing which is incompatible is my illusion with reality. The only thing which is incompatible is my understanding of religion. No, be religious, please. Have a religious feelings. If you have a religious feelings, you are not glorifying yourself to be a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim or a Baha'i. You look at all of them as a means to become more religious. Religious means more united. United with yourself, united with environment, united with the universe. Then you do not look at the colors. You see that the colors are subjective to the time and space. If you are religious, you go beyond time and space. You go beyond borders. You look at the reality of all things. If this definition that I gave you is correct, which you can verify it through your own research, go into the ocean of lights and look at the concept of universe, concept of God, concept of manifestation. Read Kitab-e-Iqan, the most important work of Baha'u'llah after Aqdas. See how does he look at manifestation? What does it mean by manifestation? Are you who are sitting here, are you a manifestation? Aren't you a part of that universal manifestation? Read this, and then you realize that actually the science which is not incompatible is a science which is satanic. What is satanic? Illusional, delusional. Does my presentation try to provoke you? Yes. My aim is to provoke you, whether you know it or not. Why do you want to provoke me? Because I want to motivate you. Why do you want to motivate me? because unless you become motivated to become united within yourself, you never experience God. God is the innermost reality of your own self. Religion is when your heart, your mind actually are harmonized towards that reality. I am a follower of this versus follower of that. Abdul Wahab was so beautifully. He says some people say, I am a Jew, I am a Christian, I am a Muslim, I am a Baha'i. Just be a human. Religion is a means, not the end. Science is the means, not the end. When religion and science become the end, both of them become harmful to humanity. And you can see it right now. I saw a passage one day from Baha'u'llah, which actually started to shake me a little bit. He says, if the people of Baha, means Baha'is, were fully aware and obedient to what has been revealed in the Baha'i writings, by no majority of the people of the world, they have comprehended the reality. Wow. What do you mean? I'm a Baha'i. My administrative right is right. Everything is good. Baha'u'llah. I'm a Baha'i 5.0. You want to tell me that I'm no good? But Baha'i. Who is a Baha'i? Baha'i. There are many people who claim to be his follower. They brings shame upon their own self and dishonor him. There are some people who have not, on surface, declared themselves to be a Baha'i, but they are actually operating by the will of Baha'i faith. What is Baha'i faith? Glory. What is glory? Reality. Do you find anything more glorious than reality? Baha'i faith is a science of heart. Baha'i faith is science of mind. If I am a Baha'i and a scientist, I never create assumption about reality. I never say, do you know, I believe. Do you know when do I use the word belief? When I have exhausted all the scientific facts. Not that I believe. What do you mean? Means that the moment that I became Baha'i, I put a sign in front of my forehead that it says mind for rent. No, mind is not for rent. Mind is for use. Science tells you, think. Religion says, in your thinking, be ethical, universal, moral. Science says, let your vision be cosmic. Faith tells you, let your vision be world embracing. Do you see any incompatibility in them? By God, no. There is no incompatibility. If we understand that religion and science are two dialectical aspects of human existence. I repeat again, I don't know how many more minutes I have, but In 15 minutes, I finish it, and then I would like you to ask a good question. I don't know why they do not allow you to ask question that I can see your faces also. I rather that. And no question is a bad question. Everything is good. The people who do not like question, they have to ask themselves why. If you have to summarize, science, I have spent 38 years as a scientist, as a strategist. I have found God in the scientific laboratories. The God is unknown. I have seen it. The evidences of it. Do you know how do I know God? When I have more questions, when I have more challenges. The moment that I find an answer, they say, this is it. Habib, pack and go home and rest. I know I am in delusional. What? Rest? Rest for what? Rest in reality, my friend. Because reality is peace. The reason that people find science incompatible, because science mostly deals with how you think, not what you think. Again, remember, how to think, not what to think. Religious people, majority of them, they just say what they have been trained. Your daddy, your mommy, your generation had just passed information, but this information never was analyzed. This is why Baha'u'llah, the founder, he says, don't teach your children about this religion, that religion. Teach them about ethics, morality, and let them, when they become the saint of maturity, they themselves investigate the truth. Look at it, please. The parents have to teach their children to be honest, to be truthful, to be faithful, to have confidence, to look at the universe not in a black and white, rather a spectrum of grays. Look at that. Parents are not supposed to tell us what to think. We have to learn what to think. And what we think is proportional to our maturity. The more mature, the less illusion. This is why even the concepts such as, I believe in Baha'u'llah, I believe in Moses. Who is Moses? Your Moses at the 5 years age is different from 15 years of age, from 20 years of age. Baha'u'llah is not definable, but everybody can approach it. Who is Baha'u'llah? Baha'u'llah, Baha'u'llah, oh Baha, help me. Isn't Baha'u'llah the reality of all things? Baha'u'llah is not Mirza Hussain Ali. Baha'u'llah is not Moses. Baha'u'llah is not Jesus. These are the manifestation instrument, the mirrors for us to see that reality. But Baha'u'llah wants us to turn our sight into our inner self and find God within our own self. Doesn't he say that? Hidden words. Hidden words. When he says, I have created you noble, I have created you rich. Do you remember that? Or it is Saturday morning, you are all sleepy. But at the end he says, turn thy face unto thine own self, that you find me within thee. The universe is within us. If we are really scientific in nature, which Shoghi Effendi says Bahá'í Faith is scientific in nature. What does scientific in nature means? It means it does not deny the things that cannot be proven until now. It scientific in nature. What does it mean? It means religion is not full of do's and don'ts. Religion is more than do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts are essential part of reality. You do that which is according to the universal law of the universe, and you do not do that which is contrary to the universal laws of the universe. Please pay attention. Look at the laws not as religious laws or scientific laws, cosmic laws. Newton taught us that. Whether you're a Baha'i or a Muslim or a black or a white or a Republican or a Democrat, hey, my friend, don't go on top of your roof and try to jump. You die, buddy. You die. You don't die because you couldn't fly. No, because you were ignorant. Ignorant of what? Of the universal law. So do you see that? Even the laws are universal. The laws are capital L. Because the more we know these laws, the more we abide. Abide, what do you mean? Dull resignation? Abdul Baha says, nobody, no. Radiant acquiescence. What do you mean? How can I be a radiant acquiescence? Because I don't do things based on if I don't do it, I get punished. No, I do things because that is the law of the universe. So now let me summarize. God, religion, science doesn't have any meaning if you do not have humanism. The purpose of creation is for us to be human. To be human is to consider the whole reality as one. Science just tries to enable us to reduce illusion by observable, verifiable facts. But science doesn't have any prejudice to say these facts that I found today is eternal. No, it says we try harder. If we find more evidences, we change our idea. Religion says the idea has to be religious. Religious means to reunite, to reunite. That means religion and science are two pillars, two wings, that they have to work together. This is why as a Baha'i, we are not surprised when somebody tells us God is dead. Yes, Nietzsche, God is dead. The God of idle fancy and vain imagining is dead. Yes, the religion that wants to say you are better, you are a chosen one, you are better than others is dead, because in the universe nothing is better than something else. Everything operates at its own rank and station. Science tells you that actually there is one force in the universe that unites every element. You call it mind, somebody else call it heart. We call it the unknowable force. That cosmic force, according to Einstein, only in the realm of creation is manifested through cosmic love. Ladies and gentlemen, not that I do not believe that religion and science are incompatible. I believe they are one. I believe that the problem is that people do not think, they do not want to analyze, they do not want to be a critical thinker. They are after answers, not after a better question. They are after what to think, not how to think. If we make our heart and mind to become universe-based, then we see that majority of what is happening in the name of religion and science is childish. That has resulted in one of the biggest psychological problem of the world, depression. People have lost meaning. You can be religious, but you have no meaning. And meaning is obtained when you look at things holistically, universally. When you define everything scientifically. I give you an example, and I end it. Power. Do we believe in power? Power is good or bad? Science says, well, why is bad? Everything is power. Everything that exists is power. Now, power can be a means to serve the system. It can be a means to isolate the system. If it is the power to unite the system, we call it love, religious, scientific. If it is separates you, we call you illusional, delusional, disoriented, and subject to mental disorder. Very simple. Now, based on that, power is a means to serve. Look at it. Religion and science go together. When they asked Baha'u'llah, what are one of the signs of maturity of humankind? Well, in one tablet he said, discovery of alchemy, Iksir Azam. The people say, what? What is alchemy? When you investigate through the Baha'i writings, he says the greatest alchemy is the word of God. Word of God? What is it? I didn't know that God has a word. God talks? What do you mean, word of God? He says, word of God refers to the reality of all things. Innermost reality of all things is the word of God. If one of the signs of maturity of humankind is through these ordinances of religious and science, to recognize that all the universe are actually a manifestation of a word. The words that have meaning, and you have to discover the meaning. That is one of the signs of maturity of humankind. That you actually become one system. Your dog, your vegetation, your nature becomes as holistic as your Kaaba, your Mecca, your Jerusalem, your Haifa. Look at the Baha'i Faith. How does he want to envision the world? What is another sign of the maturity of humankind? He says, the seat of power is vacant and no one dare to approach it but the person who uses it as a service to humanity. Religion is a power. Science is a power. He says we want people to be powerful, not weak, not inferior, powerful. But power means to be able to discern a reality the way it is. One of the biggest prayer of Muhammad, repeated by the Bab and Baha'u'llah, "Oh God, help me to see things the way that they actually are, not the way that they seem to be." The whole science is to make sure that our reality is not made up based on what we like it to be. If you get to the innermost reality, you see that religion and science are actually two sides of the same coin. I end it now really with very practical fact. Human being has a gift. It's called intellect. When they asked Baha'u'llah, what is the finest gift that you gave us? He says, khrat, wisdom. Wisdom is different from intellect. Some people are intellectual, but they do not have wisdom. Intellect is a means to unravel things, to question things. Wisdom, khrat, is to find the innermost connection between all things. When you get to that innermost level, you see science and religion to be the same thing. Then you believe in an advancement. You believe in becoming. You are not satisfied with being. Your tomorrow will be certainly better than today. Your eve, compared to your morning will be better than your eve. Read Tablet of Wisdom. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, whether Baha'i or a non-Baha'i, theist or atheist, it doesn't matter. Reality is not defined with these definitions. Read Einstein, read Kant, read Newton, read Pascal. You can see these people who have been identified as anti-religion, they are in fact the most religious people in the world because they tried very hard to create love, cosmic love in the universe. But they believe that this love cannot be generated unless we tear apart the illusion, fabrications, boundaries that do not exist, and we have imagined it. So the final word is this: don't leave home without true religion, and don't leave home without true science. Question things. Question things not because you want to undermine. Question it because you want to understand the better layer. Never be satisfied with your understanding. That is the beginning of a downfall. Never say, I am a Baha'i. No, no, Habib. Habib, illusional, delusional. The center of disorder is when you say, I am a Baha'i. No, you are becoming a Baha'i. Becoming is the name of a game. Baha'i. What is Baha'i, Habib? The embodiment of human perfection. What? I never can become. Yes, we know that you never can become. This is why you have to try harder. The more you try to tear your illusion, you are closer to become a Baha'i. Because when you become a Baha'i, actually there is no difference between Muslim, Baha'i, atheist, or non-atheist. You are a human. You are a part of a universe. You feel humanity. You feel one with others. You embrace the opposite ideas because you have an exemplar called Abdul Baha, that he actually taught you that when the ideas clash, the truth shall emerge. Do you see that? Science is about the clashing of ideas. But Baha'u'llah, very humbly, very powerfully, he says, do you know, truth emerges. Don't worry about it. Just try, Habib, to be aligned with the truth. Don't try to protect the truth. Truth doesn't need protection. Truth only requires manifestation. If you are a follower of truth, you are a scientist. You are a religious. If you are not thinking, if you are not, your heart is not filled with love for the entire universe, you are not religious. You are not godly. Please pay attention to the opening prayers that we all have memorized. Is there any remover of difficulties? Save God. Do you know that this prayer is very famous? Very famous. It's attributed to the Bab. Oh, although we have not been able so far to exactly locate it in his writings, but Baha'u'llah has recited it, has attributed it to the Bab, and therefore research is still going on. But please pay attention to that prayer. That prayer shows you whether you are scientific, religious scientific person, religious person. If you actually, by how you understand that prayer, you will know whether you are in a category of being a religious, mean fundamentalist, one way or a highway, or scientist in a bad meaning of it, means I just judge based on what I see. If I don't see, I deny. Or there is a third alternative. That prayer Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Let's see, let's analyze it. Analyze it. Difficulties, when difficulties came up, when I am not truthful, or when I have not faced the truth. This is why, please pay attention. When I do not have a courage to face the truth, I have difficulty. And difficulty is good because it is a banner to tell me that something is going wrong, Habib. But only one thing saves me, God. What is God? God, good, universal good. Is there any remover of difficulties, Habib, for your personal problem, intellectual problem, financial problem? Save universal good. Read it like that. You benefit from it. God, good, universal good, cosmic law, universal law. Is there any remover of difficulty save obedience to the universal laws of the universe? But Habib doesn't know what is the universal law of the universe. This is why in Aqdas, in paragraph 1, Baha'u'llah tells him, Habib, first recognition, then obedience. Recognition. Oh, I believe. No, Habib. Don't play. Believe. You have to recognize the law. You have to understand the laws of thermodynamics. You have to understand the law of hate, the law of love. You have to understand that the hate doesn't exist, is the absence of love. You have to understand these laws. Recognition. Because otherwise you just follow. You become like an ant. But you do not know what are you doing. So please pay attention. Is there any remover of difficulty save God? And then you say, praise be God. Means, hey, whether you are a Baha'i or a non-Baha'i, believer in God or non-believer in God, the only thing that saves you, deserves the praise, is a universal innermost laws of the universe that are cosmic, that are holistic, they are holy because they are wholess, they are wholess because they are healthy. And then you praise God. With that notion, go and look at science and religion, and you realize that the root of all of our problems is ignorance, is not faith, is ignorance. Some people have faith in reality. They become humble, they become truthful, they become unified. Some people have faith in doctrine, and that doctrine disables them rather than enable them. Remember, you as a human being have a responsibility. Before we enter the grave, we have to put a mark. Ask yourself, what is your mark? What do you want to leave? Bertrand Russell, he said, your mark is that you have only married, have a kid. He says, dogs, cats can claim that. But if you have a child, but you train it, educate it, better than what you have been educated, you have made a mark. If you are a scientist, try to reveal the innermost reality of science. Teach your children to read Newton. Teach your children to read Kant. Teach your children to read Nietzsche. For every Baha'i book that you read some non-Baha'i books. Welcome the opposing ideas, but do not oppose them. Seize every opportunity to find the reality, because my dear brother and sister, reality is not what you know, not what I know, because each one of us only reflect our innermost perspective of that reality. We only can cherish in a harmony of religion and science when our realities emerges together to unify the universe, to become more evolving, progressive, harmonious. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much for your talk. That was really, really interesting. Now we have some time for question and answers, so people can put their questions in the chat. We already have a lot of questions. So the first one is, they asked Einstein about God, and he said he believes in the God that Spinoza believes in. Can you elaborate, please?
Of course. Well, do you know who was Spinoza? Spinoza was a Jewish man, like a Baha'i man. They told him that you have to believe this, you have to believe that. And this man, who ended up to be the finest philosopher that was cherished by Einstein, by Immanuel Kant, because he wrote a book called Ethics. Read it. Read it. I highly recommend it. If you're a scientist, read it. If you are religious, read it. He says science of nature and God and humanity, they are coordinating with each other. Why Einstein liked Spinoza? Because if you believe in a God of Spinoza, you see that the God of Spinoza is neither Jew or Christian or a Baha'i. God of Spinoza is just a universal law operating within the universe. The God of Spinoza is unifying. The God of Spinoza gives individual the nobility that he deserves. But at the same time, Spinoza believes that your nobility is proportional to how much you relate to the entire universe. Therefore, God of Spinoza, when it comes to summarization, is the innermost reality of nature. It is exactly the wording that Abdul Baha Abbas uses in some answer question. Nature utterly might be full of contradiction. Inwardly is the innermost reality. So when you look at the nature, you see harmony. When you look at the nature, you don't see prejudice. When you look at the nature, you look at nothing but the universal love operating. For Spinoza, for Einstein, for every legitimate scientist, the more you know about these laws of the nature, the more unified you become. Your heart, your mind, your emotion, your actions become all a part of one reality. You judge yourself with how you can relate to the universe. Let your vision be world embracing. So, yes, Einstein loved Spinoza. I highly recommend each one of you, especially if you are youth, read Spinoza, read Kant, read Einstein, and read Abdul Baha Abbas. Read some answer question. Please, I beg of you, read. Do not just follow. Do not let others tell you what to think. You are only responsible for what you understand. God doesn't judge you. God means that universal law. God means that universal force. God means that unknowable force. These are all were discovered by Spinoza in his very famous book, Ethics. And please pay attention. He calls it ethics. Do you know why? Because unless you know those universal laws, you cannot be an ethical human being. You cannot be a moral human being. You cannot be moral in the realm of action. When you say black and white, man and woman, no, you are not an ethical. You are filled with prejudice, and your prejudice is filled with ignorance, and your ignorance is because you do not understand the universal law, which involves unity in variation, or unity in diversity, or as Newton discovered it, integration in differentiation. Next.
Thank you. The next question is, what does it mean to consider the whole reality?
Well, you are asking me how to consider the whole reality? Well, one way to become a whole is to become a part of it. What do you mean? You, within you, the whole universe exists. Study yourself. Do not be selfish, but study yourself. In fact, there is a famous phrase, know thyself. Socrates, do you know Socrates? Socrates was a good man. Don't leave home without him. Socrates, he says, if you do not know yourself, everything and anything you say or you do doesn't have any validity. Muhammad, know thyself. Whosoever knows himself knows God. من عرف نفسه فقد عرف ربه. Wow. Baha'u'llah, he explains. Bob explains. Abdul Baha explains. So know thy own self. Who are you? Who am I? Am I a body? I am a brain? I am a soul? Am I apart from each other? Am I divided? See, you only can answer that. Your feeling and your emotion and your belief system and your action, do they harmonize? Are you holy or just a man with a lot of holes in it? Are you holy means you are holistic? Means that all of your parts talk to each other? You never say anything unless you really feel it? And your feeling is exactly how you think? Because otherwise you are not truthful, right? If you are not truthful to yourself, how can you be truthful to me? How can you create relationship? Look at it. Know thyself. Know thyself means when you look at yourself, you see a system. You see a small system within a cosmic system. Then you become more humble. then you actually do not want to have an easy life. You want to have a meaningful life. When you try to unravel this mystery of yourself, because you are the mystery, God says, your man is my mystery, I am his mystery. Wow, what a nice relationship. We are all mysterious. That means, Habib, just do not be content with what you know and what you are. Emerge. Emerge to the higher reality. Provoke yourself. Question yourself. Oh, how? But I have been told whatever Moses, Jesus, Bob, Paula say, I just have to say, yes, sir. When did Baha'u'llah ask you to do that? I do not understand. This is what you want to justify your laziness and you use Baha'u'llah now here? Baha'u'llah tells you ask questions. Baha'u'llah even asked you to ask questions about his writings. But one intention. Your intention should be to unravel reality. The people in the Bahá'í Faith, thousands upon thousands of tablets are simply answer to questions. If everything that Baha'u'llah said, the people said, yes, sir, yes, sir, then only you had one tablet though. Why the people ask questions? Baha'u'llah says, do you know, I believe in life after death. Abdul Wahab, questioner, says, what do you mean? And then Baha'u'llah explains a little bit more. Then another guy, Abdul Razak, he says, you said this, what did you mean by that? Then another tablet, another tablet, another tablet. Baha'u'llah wants us to emerge, to be the best that we could be. Best means holistic. Do you know personality disorder generates when we do not study ourselves? When we pay our whole attention to our facial expression, we spend millions of dollars on operation our chest, on our cheeks. These are actually tells you that you have lost meaning. Yes, do that. Beauty is good. Do it because of health reason. But don't do it because you want to gain innermost peace, innermost reality by thinking that physical alteration can help you. See reality as a physical, a spiritual, as a mystical and symbolic. Tread the path of mysticism, but be practical. You are practical if your ideas is world embracing. Ask yourself what Kant suggested. Kant says, whatever you do, however you think, ask yourself, if everybody in the world wants to do exactly like you do and think and feel, what happens to the universe? Abdul Wahab Boss echoes the same thing as Kantian ethics. He says, act as you are an example to the universe. Gandhi, he says, be the change that you like to see in the world. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, everything starts with the self-knowledge and ends with the self-knowledge. If you have a self-knowledge, your fear decreases, your love increases, your intellect emerges, you are faced with more unknown than known. you actually beg Ahmad, tablet of Ahmad, for more opening to your mind and your heart. You read prayers not to help you to become rich materially, rather rich mentally, spiritually. And you know you are rich when your love for humanity increases, when religion is not a factor to judge people, is their behavior, is their practice. So as you can see, you have to be holy. And holy doesn't mean confined to time and space. Holy means holistic. You are holy only if you consider the whole. Holy doesn't mean, my friend, that I go to Jerusalem, I go to Mecca, I go to Haifa. Holy land. Think. Some people rather to die than to think, because when they think, they have to change many of their assumptions. How can land be holy? What is the difference between Mecca and Los Angeles and Jerusalem? Think, for God's sake. Think. Holy means holistic. Jerusalem is not holy. Akka is not holy. Mecca is not holy. Tehran is not holy. What happens in that spot contributed to the holism, holistic reality. Baha'u'llah means holistic reality. Holy means detached from everything which contradict holistic reality. Now with that definition, you judge yourself, judge the universe. And then I end you with this very famous statement of Albert Einstein. The root of all of your problem is ignorance. Abdul Baha Abbas says the same thing. You are ignorant because you are not brave to face the reality. You are not brave because you are confined with the belief system that limits you. Free yourself. Free yourself from the bondage of everything but that which unites you to the rest of humanity. That is a covenant. That is a covenant of Baha'u'llah. Covenant of Baha'u'llah means covenant with reality, covenant with appreciation of the Son of reality in every created thing. As you can see, everything is scientific. Everything is science. Science only shows me how to think, and what ideas that I have are not scientific means they do not have any foundation in reality. And the last word, God is dead. You know, I know, everybody knows. But the God of idle fancy, God of vain imagining, God that makes you to feel superior to somebody else, but the God of love, God of your innermost reality, is just emerging. You may not believe it. The God of 22nd century is not the God of 21st century. And the God of 21st century cannot be the God of 5th century. Nietzsche was right. God is dead. Read his work. Thus said Zoroaster. What he meant is this God that you have conceived that when you need help to make the end money, you go and give a prayer. Go and read a prayer to find a better job, for God's sake. Go and read a prayer to enlighten yourself with a better skill. Go and read a prayer to be the member of a human family who helps one another. Isn't that a better prayer? Isn't that a better God? Science tells you, come to the reality of God. The reality which has no prejudice, the reality which has no religion, because there is only one religion, reality, reality, reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It looks like we're out of time, but thank you so much for your talk. That was really great. And I know a lot of people will want to watch this afterwards and reflect. And so if, this talk is being recorded, and if you want a copy of it, I've put the link to our YouTube channel in the chat. And our speaker next week will be Dr. Kambiz Etimad, and his talk will be about the distinguishing claims and features of Baha'u'llah and his revelation. So thank you so much again. Thank you, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.